So far, we created the strongest character in One Piece's history. Then we let luck decide the strongest character possible. Then we went even further and let luck decide on the strongest crew possible. Now, well, let's repeat the last challenge one more time in order to compare and see which of the two is actually the strongest one. Can we create a crew stronger than the one we created last time? Will we be lucky enough? Let's find out. A quick revision of how this challenge works. We're gonna spin this wheel, and on whichever crew it lands on, we need to take a member from that crew and add it to our own. So before we get to the exciting part of the video, let's set some small rules. In this type of video, we usually say that we can only choose someone from our options just one time each. Well now, let's go ahead and change it up a bit. Let's allow each pirate crew to be used a maximum of 2 times each. Since each crew has multiple members, it would be kind of unfair to limit ourselves to just one character. The second small rule we have is this. We have 18 positions we need to cover. These being the captain, a first mate slash vice captain, a second mate, a shipwright, a doctor, a navigator, a cook, a youngster slash rookie, a musician, an archaeologist slash decipherer, a sniper, a fighter, an assassin, a swordsman, an animal, a scientist, and of course, a ship. Also, let's give ourselves the option to discard one crew as well, when we don't like what the wheel gave us. Well, as we just mentioned, and as you can easily realize, luck plays a major part in this video. So let's just say that no matter what we do, let's just hope that the wheel does not force us to have Zoro as a navigator, because then, well, everything we did otherwise would be for nothing. Our crew would be dead within a week in that case. Okay, so let's spin our wheel to see what we get. Our first pull is the Roger Pirates. Okay, this is quite a way to start the video. The positions we could consider here are the captain for Roger, I guess vice captain for Roger could also work. Navigator here was Scoper Gaban, which is definitely not a bad choice. An archaeologist is a great option if we go with Odin. Crocus as the doctor is also pretty great. I mean, among the given options, I think the best is either to go with Roger or Odin. Roger's obviously stronger, but the thing I'm considering is that unlike Roger, who is one of the many strong characters in One Piece, Odin is one of the very few archaeologists we can add in our crew, based on the selection of crews we have. Still among the two, I will kind of risk it and go for Roger here as the vice captain. I mean, Roger's among the strongest characters in the world of One Piece, possibly top 5, given that in recent manga chapters, we got quite a few insanely powerful character reveals, like Rocks or even Emu about to go wild, or at least, that's what it seems like. So, having Prime Roger as a vice captain in our crew, definitely a great start. Moving on, let's spin the wheel again. And now, we got the Foxy Pirates. Alright, so definitely not the best here. We're only on our second pull, so it's quite early to use our first and only discard option. We still have 16 more pulls after that, so things could get really bad if we don't play this right. So let's see where we could use someone from the Foxy Pirates. I guess the only one we could maybe somehow add is Foxy himself. But in what position, you might ask? Well, the only position I could kind of see him fit is the position of assassin. Given his devil fruit power, this could actually fit for him a bit. Even though, if we're being honest, without proper hockey, any strong character can easily break free from the Noro beam. So we'll just assume that Foxy gets some level of hockey mastery. I mean, after all, he will be surrounded by a bunch of insane monsters, so he'll definitely pick up a thing or two in time. So I guess his ability could be somewhat effective. So Foxy is our crew's assassin. Spinning the wheel again. We now get the Kuja Pirates. The members of this crew are Boa Hancock, Boa Sandersonia, Boa Marigold, and a few others we won't even really mention. The interesting thing about this crew, however, is the fact that they previously had more members. Legends, actually. Namely, Tritoma, Shaki, and Gloriosa. Now, it's quite hard to decide which one to choose and for what position, especially since we still have a bunch of beasts waiting to be added to our crew. I mean, I don't want to take the position of someone insanely powerful by using Boa, even though I don't underestimate her. There are obviously powerhouses in One Piece that could obviously offer much more. So how strong is Boa really? She's got all 3 forms of hockey combined with great physical abilities. And of course, one of the most broken devil fruit abilities when combined with how beautiful she is. But using her beauty in combination with her devil fruit, she can literally turn anyone that feels even remotely attracted to her into a stone. She quite literally turned to stone the entirety of Blackbeard's squad, with the exception of Blackbeard himself, who managed to avoid it just in time. But in what position could we add her if we decided to go with her? Well, for cook, she only learned to cook meat because she learned that Luffy likes it, so I wouldn't really qualify her as such. And if we're being honest, 2 reasons I'll have to not use her. First of all, we could potentially get even stronger characters down the line. And 2, we don't even have a spot to add her other than second mate, which quite frankly would be a waste, since for that role, we want someone with much more power. So what I'm gonna do instead with this pull is get her ship. Nothing insanely special, but overall, I think this is the best course of action. So we can end up with the strongest possible crew. Our ship is the Kuja pirate ship. 3 positions down, 15 more to go. And the next pull we get is the Blackbeard Pirates. Alright, here we've got quite a few characters we could consider, namely Blackbeard, Jesus Burgess, Shiryu, Van Augur, Lafitte, Doc Hugh, Katarina Devon, San Juan Wolf, Vasco Shot, Avila Pizarro, Stronger, aka Doc Hugh's horse, and Kuzan. Now that's a powerful crew, and quite a difficult selection we're tasked to choose from. We could go for Blackbeard as the second mate, or heck, even Aokiji for that spot. We could also go for Lafitte as our navigator, Shiryu as our swordsman, Doc Hugh as our doctor, San Juan Wolf as our fighter, Van Augur as the sniper. I mean, among the choices here, I think the most prominent ones are going to be Blackbeard or Aokiji as the second mate, Van Augur as the sniper, or Lafitte as our navigator. Blackbeard is indeed among the strongest characters in One Piece, but he's still nowhere near the level of some legends like Roger, Rox, or Whitebeard. Same goes for Aokiji. Overall, the strongest option would be to either get Aokiji or Blackbeard, but instead, I'm gonna go for Lafitte as our navigator, for the simple reason that we don't really have a lot of strong navigators in our option set. So with that in mind, Lafitte is our crew's navigator. Spinning the wheel again. We now get the Thriller Bark Pirates, led by Gecko Moria. Here, I think we could go for Moria, but the thing is, we don't really have any fitting position for him, so the actual two candidates are either Oars in the position of fighter, or Ryuma in the position of the swordsman. But please note, the Ryuma version we consider here is not the prime human version, but rather the much weaker zombie version. I do feel that even though Ryuma as a swordsman is not that bad, it would be kind of a waste to use such an important position for someone that was defeated by literally 3-time skip Zoro. There are swordsmen out there like Mihawk, Shanks, Zoro, and many others that are arguably way stronger than zombie Ryuma. So the better option here would be to take Oars in the place of the fighter. After all, Oars was known in ancient times as the continent puller because of his immense size and strength. He had superhuman durability, shrugging off cannon fire, and attacks that would destroy ships. When receiving Luffy's shadow, he was awakened to something close to his alive form in terms of strength. So overall, Oars is our crew's fighter. Spinning the wheel again. We now get Roger Pirates again for the second time. Okay, again, a great pull. And with that, we'll also remove the Roger Pirates from the wheel as well, starting next round. So now, which member should we add here? We already took Roger, and as we explained in the first point, we kinda took a big risk by doing that, since there aren't many archaeologists left. And since our crew will want to go after the One Piece, you definitely need someone to be able to read the poneglyphs. And well, let's not downplay Odin either. The guy was probably Yonko level as well. He was not as strong as Prime Whitebeard or Prime Roger, but he was definitely at the level of Kaido. After all, Kaido had to cheat to win against him. Plus, even though Whitebeard considered everyone that was part of his group as his sons, he considered Odin as his brother, which says a lot about his strength. He had great hockey control, great swordsmanship skills, incredible physical capabilities, and his durability was honestly insane, being boiled alive for an hour, something that even Kaido did not consider possible. Our crew's archaeologist will now be Odin. Spinning the wheel again. We now get Blackbeard Pirates again for the second time. As we explained, this is the second time we get the Blackbeard crew. So after this, they'll be removed from the wheel. The remaining positions we still did not assign are the sniper that could go to Van Augur, a doctor that could go to Doc Hugh, a youngster, which I don't suppose the Blackbeard Pirates really have a member for that, a captain, which would be Blackbeard if we choose to go for him, a swordsman, who could be Shiryu, a musician, which again, they don't really have one, or we don't have enough info whether they do or not, a shipwright, same thing, an animal, they do have Doc Hugh's horse, but I don't think it's the strongest one we could hope for. A scientist, again, no such info. A cook, again, no info. But we also have the second mate that Blackbeard or Aokiji could qualify for. And we also have the discard option, which we're obviously not using here since this is a pretty good crew to use with multiple options. I think overall the wisest option would be to go for either the doctor or the sniper, for the sole reason that other positions can actually be assigned to stronger individuals from other crews. I'm actually gonna risk it a bit here and not choose the doctor, even though we don't have many crews with good doctors in our list. Ideally, we'll get the Heart Pirates or the Straw Hat Pirates to get Law or Chopper. So with that in mind, I think our best course of action would be to take Van Augur in the place of the sniper. Yeah, I suppose he's not as good as Yasopp from the Red Hair Pirates, but he is actually considered one of the greatest master marksmen in the entire series. He is nicknamed the Supersonic. With his favorite rifle, Senriku, Augur is able to fire bullets over tremendous distances with extraordinary accuracy. Even though not confirmed, it is heavily implied that he has, at the very least, some mastery of observation hockey. So, our crew's sniper is now Van Augur. Spinning the wheel again. We now get the Heart Pirates. All right, that's perfect. We just mentioned that we hope to either get the Straw Hats or the Heart Pirates so we could get a good doctor. We just hit, I think, the best option we could. I mean, listen, the members of his crew are the following: Trafalgar D. Waterlaw, Beppo, Penguin, Penguin, Shachi, Jean-Bart, Ikaku, Uni, Cleone, and Hakugan. Yeah, basically we've got Law alongside some side characters. One side character is worth considering, however, Beppo. You see, from this crew, we'll either take Law and use him as either a doctor or a swordsman, or we'll take Beppo and use him as the crew's animal or even as the navigator. Let's see which option is actually the best here. When it comes to Law, both his combat ability as well as his medical skills are top tier. In addition to his devil fruit, Law underwent an extremely rigorous combat training regimen under the Don Quixote pirates as a child, attaining incredible superhuman physical prowess. He's displayed immense levels of physical endurance and was constantly shown to be particularly smart, especially when you compare him with other captains like Luffy, for example. That, well, you know the guy's kinda stupid. Strong, smart, a powerful devil fruit, and it doesn't even end there. Since childhood, Law was already well-versed in medicine. Law earned the nickname Surgeon of Death due to his immense surgical skills in addition to his formidable combat abilities. He was able to simultaneously operate on both Luffy and Jinbei right after both of them barely escaped a murderous Akainu who inflicted brutal, life-threatening injuries that left them on the brink of death, and was successful in treating them. The spatial powers given to him by the Ope Ope no Mi allows Law to perform even the most complicated and difficult surgeries perfectly with great ease, as they allow him to cut a patient's body open and remove organs without damaging any tissues, leaving scars, or causing the patient to bleed a single drop of blood, while removing any disease-causing impurities, as well as poisonous substances and narcotic drugs from the patient's body. And now, a few words for Beppo too. Yeah, I know he's not even remotely as strong as Law, but hear me out. There aren't many strong animals in the world of One Piece that are part of crews, so at the very least, we could consider him, right? As a member of the mink tribe, Beppo, like all other minks, is a born warrior. Though he hasn't shown it as of yet, it can be presumed that he is able to use Electro. He's also a skilled martial artist, combining his fighting skills with his superior physical abilities as a mink, allowing him to take out several marines with ease. But he's not strong enough to break a pacifista, as when he attempted to kick one, he wounded his leg. Similar to Sanji's attack on Bartholomew Kuma. After the time skip, Beppo's fighting skills and physical prowess significantly improved. Plus, don't even get me started on his Sulong form. As a member of the mink tribe, Beppo is able to awaken the Sulong transformation when looking at the full moon. In this form, Beppo's strength, size, speed, and fighting abilities are magnified, earning him acknowledgement from his crewmates as being the second strongest after Law, and letting him briefly fight back against even the Emperor Blackbeard and several of his Titanic captains. Beppo also has access to a special drug developed by Chopper that allows him to transform without the need of looking at the full moon, allowing him to tap into the Sulong's power at any moment. Between the two members, I think I'll be taking Trafalgar Law and using him as our crew's doctor. He's both stronger than Beppo, and also, there's not many strong doctors out there, so Law kinda fits our needs perfectly. Our crew's doctor is now Law. Spinning the wheel again. We now get the Straw Hat Pirates. All right, once again, a great pull. The members of this crew are Luffy, Zoro, Sanji, Jinbei, Nami, Robin, Brook, Chopper, Usopp, and Frankie. We're not putting Loki here yet because even though Luffy offered him to join the crew, well, Luffy does this to everybody, and not so many actually end up joining. I think among the remaining positions, we have Zoro as the swordsman is quite good. Chopper as the animal is not too bad, I guess, but it's not great either because we already used Law as our crew's doctor. Frankie as the shipwright or even scientist isn't bad either, since there aren't many characters for these positions available. We already took a navigator, so unfortunately we can't use Zoro there. We also already took Odin as the archaeologist, so Robin's not considered either. For Jinbei, now that I'm thinking about it, I don't know if he really qualifies as an animal to our crew since, you know, he's half human, half fish. But I'll go ahead and say no, because we saw him giving blood to Luffy, which was Oda's way of saying that fishmen are actually the same as humans as well, just a bit of a different race. Usopp as the sniper will also not be considered here, since we already took one, which leaves us with Luffy that we can put as the second mate, the captain, or for the one I'll actually go for, the youngster. Luffy, despite being a captain in the canon story of One Piece, is by all definitions still a youngster. The guy's literally still 19 years old. So if we assume he's part of a crew comprising of Roger, Odin, and possibly more legends like that, then yeah, Luffy definitely counts as a youngster. The strongest one we could go for, as a matter of fact. Luffy is a Yonko, has awakened his mythical Zoan devil fruit, the Hito Hito no Mi model sun god Nika. He's got all three main forms of haki, and even polished his haki to be comparable to some of the biggest legends in One Piece, like Kaido, for example. Our crew's youngster is now Luffy. Spinning the wheel again. we now get the Rocks Pirates. Oh, it just keeps getting better and better. Here, the known members of this crew are all of the beasts. Namely, we have Rocks, Kaido, Whitebeard, Big Mom, Shiki, Stussy, Marlin, Ochoku, Gansui, John, Strusen, Barble, Kyo, Gloriosa, and Gil Bastar. Okay, so here choosing anything other than the Rocks, Kaido, Whitebeard, Big Mom, or Shiki, I think it'd be a stupid move and a terrible decision, given the powerhouses we could go for. And please remember, we still have the position of the captain still available. I think the wisest call here would be for Rocks as our captain. After all, this guy was the captain of the strongest pirate crew in history for a reason, and he did have under him all of Kaido, Whitebeard, Big Mom, and Shiki, just to name a few legends. You see, Rocks D. Shebeck was a descendant of the near-extinct Davy family. Let me tell you, his power was legendary. After the crew's dissolution, several of its members rose to great fame. Whitebeard Edward Newgate, Big Mom Charlotte Linlin, and Kaido of the Beasts came to constitute 3/4 of the original 4 emperors, widely regarded as the strongest pirate crews in the world during the Great Pirate Era. Another prominent member, the Golden Lion Shiki, would become a rival to Roger and Whitebeard after Rocks' death, while Captain John, another member, would also go on to be infamous for his legendary treasure that has also been sought after. Rocks possessed an immense level of superhuman strength. He was renowned for easily killing a Marine admiral, single-handedly destroying one of the gates of justice, and dominating countless Davy-back fights to recruit powerful individuals such as Whitebeard, Shiki, and Big Mom. He was so fearsome, it took the efforts of both Roger and Monkey D. Garp working together to finally defeat him, and he clashed equally with the giant King Harold on multiple occasions. Rocks' defeat was also what caused Garp to become a legend and to be known as the hero of the Marines, showing how much of a threat the world government considered him to be. Even when Roger was sailing the seas as a notorious pirate, the years of the Rocks' pirates' dominance and notoriety were referred to as the era of Rocks. So yeah, with all these in mind, adding Rocks as our crew's captain is the best choice we could hope for. Spinning the wheel again, we now get the Cross Guild. All right, that's actually something I was hoping for. The known members we can use here are Mihawk, Crocodile, and Buggy. At least, these are the supposed 3 founding members. Buggy's out because, well, you know, he's a clown, so it's either Crocodile or Mihawk. The remaining positions we have left in our crew are swordsman, a musician, a shipwright, an animal, a scientist, a cook, a discard, and a second mate. Get where I'm going with this? We could take Crocodile or Mihawk as the second mate, but a far better choice would be to use Mihawk as our crew's swordsman. As the strongest swordsman in the world, in both name and reality, Mihawk is one of the strongest pirates of the world. Even before the Great Age of Pirates, he gained fame by defeating stronger and stronger foes until he had no worthy challengers left. And now, he reigns at the top as the strongest swordsman in the world. Due to his strength in swordsmanship, Mihawk was a rival to Shanks, a future emperor and great swordsman in his own right. They competed fiercely in legendary duels on a daily basis until Shanks lost his left arm to the Lord of the Coast, after which Mihawk stopped challenging him. His immense skill in battle allowed him to easily destroy Don Krieg's entire fleet of 50 ships and 5,000 men by himself with a lot of ease, for the simple reason that they disturbed his sleep, with only the main ship surviving because a bad storm pushed them away. This monstrous display of strength caused Don Krieg to assume that Mihawk had devil fruit powers. Additionally, he easily defeated Roronoa Zoro 2 years prior, using only his cross-shaped knife that he wears as a pendant around his neck. In fact, Mihawk was more than capable of easily killing Zoro just using that knife, and the only reason he did not was because he recognized his strength and determination. During the Summit War of Marineford, he did not receive as much as a scratch, despite having fought against Vista and Crocodile. A true testament to Mihawk's extraordinary strength is that after the 7 warlords of the sea were abolished, his bounty was raised to 3,590,000,000, one of the highest bounties in the world that even surpasses 2 of the current 4 emperors, Monkey D. Luffy and Buggy. But hear this exciting part as well. Aside from his combat prowess, Mihawk is also an excellent cook, having cooked meals for both himself and Perona for 2 years. Meaning, we could use Mihawk as our crew's cook and have someone else exceptionally strong as our swordsman. And honestly, I think that's gonna be the smart move here. So our crew's cook is now Mihawk. Spinning the wheel again. We now get the Red Hair Pirates. All right, so I think the best choice here would be to use Shanks as our crew's swordsman. However, I'm gonna be honest, there is a position we could take from the Red Hair Pirates that doesn't really appear all that often in other crews. And if we don't take it now, we might get stuck with no one for that position. And that's none other than the musician of the crew. Here, I'll be going for Uta for the position of the musician in our crew. I mean, her devil fruit was one of the more broken ones in the world of One Piece. You see, Uta ate the Uta no Mi, a paramecia-type devil fruit that allows her to transport people's consciousnesses into a virtual space called Uta World by singing. Within Uta World, she's essentially all-powerful and able to do whatever she wants until she runs out of energy. In other words, Uta is among the strongest musicians we could hope for. While for the position of the swordsman, we could take Shanks, but we've still got quite a few powerful characters in our options we could go for. So, our crew's musician is now Uta. Spinning the wheel again. We now get the Kid Pirates. Here, the major candidates are really just Kid and Killer. Killer could technically qualify for the position of the swordsman, I suppose, but I still wouldn't want to use him for that. We've got a way better option ahead anyway. For Kid, well, there's not really any actual position he would fit, other than that of the second mate, which again, I think there's still better options ahead. So, what should I use instead? Well, I'll just take whoever was the shipwright in their crew. He's probably not the strongest, whoever that guy might be, but he's part of the Kid Pirates, so at the very least, he can probably pull his own weight, while also helping fix or even upgrade the ship when needed. Our crew's shipwright is now the shipwright of the Kid Pirates. 13 traits down, 5 more to go. And the next pull we get is the Straw Hats for the second time. All right, so we already took Luffy, and to be honest, if we knew that we'd get the Straw Hats before that, we probably wouldn't have chosen the nameless Kid Pirate for our shipwright, but rather choose Frankie for that now. But what's done is done, so let's see what we can do from here onwards. Zoro as our swordsman is a great choice. Frankie as the scientist isn't bad either. Sanji as the cook would have been great, but we took Mihawk for that one. Chopper as the doctor would have been good, but we took Law there, which is a good option. Chopper as the animal is nice, but overall, which should we actually choose? I think for here, because we're approaching the end and we almost have no other alternatives for animal, I'm gonna have to take Chopper here. It's a bit of a risk, especially since we reject stronger characters like Zoro, for example, but we do that because there's stronger swordsmen we might pull in the next rounds. While for animals, not so much. Our crew's animal is now Chopper. Spinning the wheel once more. We got the Beast Pirates. All right, I'm not gonna speak a lot on this one, because for me, this is between Kaido as the second mate or Queen as the scientist. Kaido would obviously be the better option, since he's incredibly more powerful than Queen, but we really need a scientist in our crew. And if we don't take Queen, I don't think we're gonna have many other options to get scientists from here on outwards. Kaido is the stronger candidate, but Queen, in my opinion, is the smarter choice here. We still have strong options along the line that we can add to our crew. You see, in the past, Queen and Vinsmoke Judge were colleagues at MADS, a lawless scientific research institute led by Vegapunk. Queen's knowledgeable in cybernetic enhancements, robotics, and even biology, chemistry, and medicine, as he was the one who created a virus that he spread during the Wano arc to fight off the rebellion. In terms of combat power, he's not Yonko level, of course, but he was the second mate to Kaido. So at the very least, let's just say he's no joke. Sanji gave everything he had, including having to awaken latent powers he didn't even know he possessed in order to defeat him. So our crew's scientist is now Queen. 3 positions left, so our next poll is the Red Hair Pirates. Okay, here, the remaining positions we have are Discard, Swordsman, or Second Mate. Naturally, we're not gonna use our Discard option here, and among the members of this crew, the strongest member is, of course, Shanks. Luckily, he fits for both of these positions we need, so the only question here is, in which of the two should we add him? I think I'll go ahead and assign Shanks as our crew's swordsman, since he does fight with a sword. Plus, the Second Mate is a bit more broader of a title that can be utilized by other individuals as well. We just need to hope that the remaining 2 spins we have, one of them strong. Our crew's swordsman is now Shanks. Spinning the wheel again, we now have the Buggy Pirates. Ugh, not the best pull, that's for sure. So should we take Buggy as our crew's second mate, or should we risk it and discard him so we can maybe hope for something better? I think given the options we still have on our wheel, it would indeed be better to discard this round. We've gone ahead and used our discard option on the Buggy Pirates. One more pull left remains, after which we'll compare which of the 2 versions of the video we made where we ended up with the strongest crew. Version number 1, aka the one we posted around a year ago at this point, or version number 2, aka this video right here. Let's go ahead and spin that wheel and hope we get someone powerful for the second mate. Spinning the wheel, we've gotten the Big Mom Pirates. Whew, okay, we took a risk, but we got lucky, I suppose, because Big Mom is one of the best options we could have hoped for. Not even gonna speak a lot about Big Mom here. She's known as one of the strongest individuals in One Piece. Her strength is monstrous, her haki is elite, her devil fruit is frightening, lightning. Her size is massive. She can move way faster than what someone would think based on her size. Plus, she has near impenetrable skin, and overall, she was not part of the Rocks Pirates and later on a Yonko for nothing. Our crew's second mate is now Big Mom. Alright, so now having completed our crew, let's compare it with our previous video we made. We'll call this video crew number 2, and the crew we created a year ago, crew number 1. Crew number 2 has as captain, Rocks, vice captain or first mate, Roger, second mate, Big Mom, Mihawk as the cook, Shanks as the swordsman, Odin as the archaeologist, Luffy as the youngster, Law as the doctor, Queen as the scientist, Van Augur as the sniper, Uta as the musician, Chopper as the animal, Foxy as the assassin, Lafitte as the navigator, Oars as the fighter, and unnamed shipwright as our crew shipwright, and Boa's ship. In comparison, in crew number 1 was comprised of Saul, Law, Apu, Laboon, Shanks, Rocks, Roger, Yasopp, Charlotte Chiffon, Ace, Stussy, Killer, Gabon, Sunny, Senor Pink, Blackbeard, and Nico Robin. So in other words, the members present in both crews are Law, Shanks, Roger, and Rocks. Now when we put the remaining characters against each other and compare them, Oars is probably stronger than Saul, Big Mom is stronger than Blackbeard, Uta is stronger than Apu, Mihawk is obviously stronger than Charlotte Chiffon, Senor Pink and Killer combined, Odin is stronger than Nico Robin, Luffy as he is right now is stronger than Ace. And after all, Luffy is indeed a Yako at the moment, while Ace was nowhere near that level of the time of his death. So for all these points, crew number 2 is superior. Crew number 1 now has the following position in which they are superior. Laboon's probably stronger than Chopper, Yasopp is stronger than Van Augur, Stussy is obviously stronger than Foxy, Gabon is stronger than Queen and Kid Shipwright combined, and Sunny is a better ship than Boa's ship. Overall, I do feel that the crew we created now is easily superior to the crew of video number 1. So I guess the more we go, the better or luckier we become at this. Thanks for watching, and click on this video next for more One Piece content. Go on, check it out!